Good morning everyone. In reproduction, the generating system, our next topic is about sexual reproduction in plants. Okay, we have seen sexual reproduction in animals. Now let us see in the plants. Okay, so far we know that nearly 2,75,000 species of flowering plants, with a few expectations, all of them give rise to seeds enclosed in fruits. Most of the plants you are familiar with are mostly flowering plants. The characters are quite remarkable. The plant size normal range from trees weighing many tons to tiny water plants about the size of a rice grain. A sand tree growing in the Himalayan mountain, a giant cactus in the Sahara desert, an orchid plant on the branch of a jungle tree, all are flowering plants. Now let us examine the sexual reproduction in flowering plants. Okay, on this diversity, so we are able to see vast species of plants presenting on the diversity. Okay, ranging from the tons of weight of plants to very tiny water plants and also such as rice. Okay, so we are able to see large plants as well as a tiny plants. Okay, as well as a sand tree growing in the Himalayan mountains and a giant cactus in the Sahara desert. So we can be able to see different kinds of sizes of plants varying from very minute to the 100 tons of plants. Okay, and also we can be able to see grasses are ranging up to 1 or 2 centimeters above the soil, and we can be able to see the same plants ranging about 300 feet. Okay, so let me see about the flowering plants and also how the sexual reproduction is conducting those flowering plants. Okay, so normally sexual reproduction is seen in the flowering plants. Okay, here he gave an example of the datura plant. Okay, so datura will have both male and female gametes. So these are the parts normally we will see in the flower. Okay. So this stigma will be normally known as gynoecium. So gynoecium in sense female reproductive part. Okay, and this stamen is known as andrecium. This is male reproductive part. Okay. This is female reproductive part and this male reproductive part. This corolla contains petals. So petals are commonly called as corolla and calyx means sepals. Okay. So group of sepals. Okay, here let me see the remaining part. Okay, the reproductive parts of the flowering plants are located in the flower. You have already studied the different parts of the flowers: sepals, petals, stamens and carpels. The reproductive part of the flower which possess the sex cells or germ cells called stamen and carpel cells. So normally the sex cells or the germ cells called as carpels or and stamens. Okay, what function do you think is served by petals and sepals? Okay, these petals used to the group of petals are called as corolla. Okay, and the sepals are the part where it is present. So that is known as calyx. Okay, flowers having either stamens or carpels are called unisexual, like that of bottle gourd and papaya. Okay, the flowering plants contain only one reproductive part is known as unisexual. Okay, it may contain either female reproductive part or male reproductive part. Okay. Like that of examples bottle gourd and papaya, and flowers having both the stamen and carpel are bisexual like datura. Okay, if the flower contains both the male and female reproductive parts, that means stamens and carpels, such plants or such flowers are considered as bisexual flowers like datura. Okay, stamens means male portion called andrecium. As I told that stamens means andrecium, those are male reproductive parts, whereas stigma means gynoecium, that is nothing but female reproductive part. Okay, so these stamens produce male sex cells in the pollen grain. So the function of the stamens is to produce, okay, male sex in the pollen grain. Okay, carpels, female portion called as gynoecium, produce female sex cells in ovules inside ovaries. So inside the ovary it contains ovules. These will produce the carpels. Okay, so that are nothing but female reproductive cells. Carpels have three main parts. One to receive the pollen called as stigma. So stigma means it will receive the pollen grains. Okay. And next, called as stigma, one for passes of compatible male sex cells called the style. Okay, the style function is to allow the male reproductive parts. Okay, so through this style, the male reproductive parts will enter into the ovary. Okay. And the other part where the fusion of male and female sex cells occur to form zygote is the ovary. So through the ovary, the fusion of the male and female sex cells occur to form zygote. Okay. The plants having flowers where male reproductive cells of stamen are carried to the female reproductive cell of the carpel of the same flower is called as self-pollination. Okay, self-pollination means, okay, occurs when the pollen from the anther is dispersed on the stigma of the same flower of the or another flower flower on the same plant. Okay, if the pollination occurs on the same plant, okay, same plant. So first suppose this is female reproductive parts containing flower. Okay, this is male reproductive parts containing flower of the same plant. Okay, so these cells transfers to the female cells, and here this flower transforms into the fruit. Okay, so such kind of pollination is known as self-pollination. So self-pollination is seen in the same plant of between different flowers. Okay, we can see this type of pollination in plants like those of the pea plants. Okay, these kind of pollination can be generally seen in pea family. Okay, that means and also in green peas, purple color peas. Okay, in these plants we can see the self-pollination. Okay, try to find some other plants that are self-pollinating. Are there any observable characters that help you to find out whether a plant is self-pollinating type or not? The illustrations given here will help you. If the anthers are present below the stigma of the carpel, then so if the stigma of if anthers are present below the stigma, okay, we can be able to see the self-pollination there. Okay, so in those kind of plants we can easily find that these plants undergo the self-pollination. Okay, how does the male reproductive cells reaches the female reproductive cells in flowers of such plants? Okay, here in self-pollinated plants, anthers are usually present above the stigma. Okay, in self-pollinated plants, the anthers are usually present above the stigma. Pollen drops. These pollen grains used to drop on the stigma, a process that takes place as a flower closes for the night, and that sometimes occur before they are completely developed and ready to open. Okay, so here we can see that these pollen grains will start falling on the stigma, and after that this flower used to close, and after that some process will take place when it is closed. That means these pollen grains will transfer to the ovary, and there they used to reproduce and they will produce offsprings. Okay, after some time it starts opening. Okay, at the time of pollination, slightly movement of the flower petals to stimulate stamen to dislodge its pollen and transfer it to the nearby stigma is a pea plant. Okay, so what happening here? So after that, when the flower is closed, so these pollen grains reaches the ovary, and these ovary will germinate the pollen grains, and they will undergo reproduction, and they will produce new offsprings. Okay, so here you have studied in the earlier classes that how birds and insects help plants as agents of pollination. So birds and insects used to help in the transferring of pollen grains to the female flowers. Okay, what happens in plants that carry the female reproductive structure or the male reproductive structure born in separate flower? Remember the flowers of the bottle gourd you studied in earlier classes. So what happened here in the bottle gourd plant? It contains individual flowers, that means unisexual flowers. So these insects or air or water will help to transfer the pollen grains to the female reproductive parts of the flower. Okay, through that these flowers used to close, and after closing the when the pollen grains enters into the flower, so they start closing, and later on what happens here? Reproduction will, if they undergo the reproduction, they produce the fruits. Okay. Do you know Darwin in 1876 showed that plants when isolated has the great tendency to self-fertilize. When surrounded by varieties of the same flower, they readily cross-fertilize. So Darwin in 1876 showed that plants when isolated with the great diversity, so they use it to cross-fertilize too. That means cross-pollination too takes place. Okay. When male cells of the flower pollinate the female flower on the same or different plant of the same species, this type of pollination is called as cross-pollination. Okay. So, cross-pollination means the transfer of the male, that means pollen from the anther deposited on the stigma of anther flower on a different individuals. That means, so as I told that these pollen grains, so these pollen grains may transfer to the other flower of the same species. Okay, as we see in the self-pollination, the flower of the same plant, but here the flower of the same species, these pollen grains are transferred to that flower. So such kind of pollination is known as cross-pollination. Okay. Do you know what is self-pollination? So we know that self-pollination means pollen from the anther is deposited to the stigma of the same plant. Okay. Let us now observe some smaller parts that are involved in the process of reproduction in plants. The male reproductive part or the stamens consists of some sac-like structures at its head bearing small ball-like structures. We can easily observe these structures called pollen with the help of hand lens. The pollen grain reach the female reproductive part and fertilize the egg to form a zygote. So as we see in the hibiscus plants, so we can be able to see sac-like structure present above the stigma. Okay. So on that we can be able to see the pollen grains. Okay. So those are known as pollen grains, and these pollen grains will be transported to the through the cell, which is the ovary. Okay.